Hello again, intrepid travelers, and welcome back to my corner of the multiverse. Or, if this is your first time here, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Seth Cross, and this is episode 2 of the Planeschasers series. For these gameplay videos, I'm collecting a fantastic pot of friends to battle it out in a 4-player free-for-all Commander Planechase game. If you're not familiar with Planechase, it's one of the best variants for Commander in my humble opinion. In addition to normal gameplay, we utilize a 5th deck called the Planar deck, filled with different settings that are scattered across the Magic the Gathering multiverse. Each plane has different effects, and we roll a special 6-sided die to interact with these planes. Rolling is free the first time each turn, with each other roll costing 1 more mana than the last, so 1 mana for the second roll and 2 mana for the third, and so on. On the planar die, the planeswalk symbol, or a 6 on a regular 6-sided die for those of us without a planar die, causes us to planeswalk, meaning we flip the next plane and those effects take over. Rolling a chaos or a 1 will trigger the current plane's chaos effect, and these can do all kinds of things, from letting us search for lands, hurting us, exiling things, and more. This episode is especially spicy with a whole new cast of Planechasers from last month's video, so I'll turn it over to them to introduce themselves and their decks.
I'm Roundtable. I mostly hang out in Seth's Discord. It's a pretty chill place. I don't do my own content creation. Today I am rocking my Aura Mary Thief Popular Entertainer. This is actually a sneak attack deck, so really the red background is mostly just there so I can play sneak attack. And I'm just looking to sneak as many things onto the battlefield as possible.
Hello everyone, I am Jidayun. You can find me on Twitter at GrapesForGideon. You'd likely find me at Jidayun there, and other places with links that'll likely be in the description. I'm playing Alavir of the Wild Court. Essentially, deck is put thing on thing, smash into other thing, with other thing being my opponents typically. And that's the deck.
I'm Seth Cross. Today I'm going to be playing my Henry Wu InGen Genesis. This is the very first time with this deck. It is not going to stand sleeved, unlike my first deck that I played in the first Planechasers video. I just haven't had an opportunity to go and get sleeves for it. But this cares about playing humans and non-humans and having my humans exploit my non-humans so that they can get value. And I'm very excited to see how it works out, even though I have discovered that it's got actually a high average mana value. So we're going to try. We're going to do our best.
Hey, I'm Melanpiriks, aka the recent Phyrexian apologist. Today I'm playing a different kind of living machines. Ashar the Lone Cyberman. So I'm gonna play artifacts, copy them, and figure it out from there. Some artifacts are strong, some artifacts are just kind of fun, some are both. Let's see where it goes.
If you go on to enjoy this video, it means the world to me for you to leave a like, comment something down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already part of our community. My goal for 2024 is to end with 500 subscribers on the channel, and to do that we need roughly 33 new subs each month, so you can be one of those people today. Additionally, if you want a fun, safe space to talk about Magic and meet other amazing people all around the world, there's a link to my free public Discord in the video description, along with the link to my Twitch channel, where I stream Commander games every Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Those videos are later uploaded to the channel as VODs, and you can even get in on those games via the Discord. I hope to see you out and about, but for now, let's kick off the game. To start the game, we reveal the first plane, which is Onaki Catacomb. This plane of death and dying turns all of our creatures black, giving them death touch and making combat extra tricky. If that isn't enough combat shenanigans, rolling Chaos boosts your creatures by 1 power and gives them first strike. This means that we can hit with Death Touch before the blocker has a chance to hit back, making your field come out of the combat alive. Roundtable is the first player of the game and starts us off with a training center that enters untapped. Despite having the opportunity to roll a planar die for free, he turns it down to stay on a safe place and passes the turn. Second in order, Jidayun mirrors Round's turn, playing a Bountiful Promenade, untapped and passing the turn without an attempt on the planar die. Wanting to break the consistency, I start my turn by playing a Terramorphic Expanse, using it to find a forest that enters the battlefield tapped. Not wanting to stick on a single plane for too long, foreshadowing, I do try at the planar die but roll a blank and pass the turn. Melanpiriks plays a Mistvault Bridge, entering tapped and sees a blank when they roll the planar die. We kick off the second round of the game with Roundtable playing an island. Paying 2, he plays his commander's background, Popular Entertainer. Tapped out, he passes the turn, still not rolling the planar die. Jidayun plays Vitugazi, the city tree. Paying 2 mana, he casts the first creature of the game, Transcendent Envoy. This card makes his aura spells cheaper, a massive form of ramp over the course of a long game. He rolls a planar die again, and chaos ensues. Unfortunately, the Envoy cannot attack due to summoning sickness, so Jidayun passes the turn. I start my turn with a command tower. I ramp in my own way, tapping 2 to pay for an arcane signet. Without anything else to do on my turn, I roll the planar die with nothing happening. Melanpiriks plays a swamp and casts a very deadly looking creature for their commander. Razor Lash Transmigrant is the perfect creature to use for Ashad's Casualty 2 ability because they can come back repeatedly. Melanpiriks rolls a planar die for free and gets nothing for their efforts. The third round of the game sees Roundtable playing a mountain. For 3 mana, he casts a Cephalid Facetaker and passes the turn. Jidayun displays the synergy of Enchantress-style decks, playing a forest and paying 3 for a Tanglespan Lookout, a form of card advantage to pair with the Envoy's ramp. Moving to combat, Jidayun takes first blood by attacking Roundtable for 1 damage with the Envoy, which cannot be blocked thanks to flying. To close out the turn, Jidayun rolls a planar die and we remain on the same plane with a blank result. I take the chance to play one of the biggest value pieces in my deck, paying 2 mana for a Bloodghast. I follow that up by playing an Evolving Wilds and moving to roll the die before searching for my land. I get a blank result, so I move to my end step while searching for an island. Melanpiriks decides to give the planar die a try before doing anything else, but sees nothing on the roll. They follow this up by playing a Buried Ruin. Then, they tap 3 and cast Psi Master Thopterist. Moving to combat, they attack Jidayun with the Razor Lash Transmigrant for 3 damage and pass their turn. It's taken until round 4 for Roundtable to join us in trying to get off this plane, starting their turn by playing a Shivan Reef. Paying 3, he casts his commander, Alora, Merry Thief. He takes his free roll for the first time this game, but that doesn't give him any luck and he still sees nothing on the result. Moving to combat, the Cephalid Facetaker swings at Melanpiriks for 1 unblockable damage, triggering the Popular Entertainer to goad the Razor Lash Transmigrant. Satisfied with his turn, Roundtable passes to Jidayun. Jidayun starts by playing a simple plains before casting his commander, Elevere of the Wild Court. This triggers Elevere's Enter the Battlefield effect, giving the Transcendent Envoy a virtuous roll. This then rolls into a Tanglespan Lookout trigger, letting Jidayun draw a card. In their combat step, Jidayun repays the attack from Melanpiriks with the Enchanted Envoy for 2 damage, which triggers Elevere's second ability to draw a card. In his post-combat main phase, Jidayun rolls and sees a blank result before passing the turn. My turn is value central, as I move from my pre-combat main phase straight to combat. I swing the Bloodghast at Roundtable for 2 damage. In my second main phase, I cast a Ruthless Technomancer, choosing to sacrifice the Bloodghast to the Enter the Battlefield effect and getting 2 treasure tokens. I play an Exotic Orchard, which brings the Bloodghast back to the battlefield from the graveyard. Finally, I cast my commander, Henry Wu InGen Geneticist, and choose to exploit the Bloodghast, which draws me a card but does not make a treasure token, as the Bloodghast does not have at least 3 power. I make an attempt to roll the planar die, which, like so many others in this game so far, fails to produce a result, and I pass the turn. Melanpiriks starts with a planar die roll, and you guessed it, as per the norm, they're unsuccessful. A Shadowblood Ridge is played, which helps them pay for and cast their commander, Ashad the Lone Cyberman. Psi Master Thopterist triggers, creating a Thopter since Ashad is an artifact creature spell. With a goaded Razor Lash Transmigrant, Melanpiriks attacks me for 3 damage and passes the turn. Roundtable plays an island, then taps to cast a rapacious dragon. The dragons enter the battlefield effect resolves, creating 2 treasure tokens. Moving to combat, the cephalid face taker attacks me for 1 damage that I cannot block, with Popular Entertainer allowing Roundtable to goad my ruthless Technomancer. In his post-combat main phase, he attempts to planeswalk, but we are still anchored in the place, and the turn ends. Jidayun plays a forest in his main phase, then immediately rolls for free. Receiving a blank result, big surprise, he casts an Ajani's Chosen. Paying 1, Jidayun attempts to roll again and gets another blank result, and moves to combat. I am, once again, attacked for 2 damage, and the damage allows Elevere to have Jidayun draw a card. With nothing else, he passes the turn. Before I even play a land, I attempt to planeswalk, and fail. Paying 1 mana, I roll again, and this time at least see a chaos effect, giving my creatures a bonus and first strike, which I accidentally called Death Strike, and continue to call it such the rest of the game. Moving to combat, I return the favor to Jidayun, swinging for 3 damage. In my post-combat main phase, I cast a Tempt with Discovery, and the entire table rallies against me, refusing to accept my gifts. Rude. I find a Path of Ancestry, which enters the battlefield tapped, and triggers the Bloodghast to return to the field from the graveyard, and I pass the turn. Melanpiriks copies me, rolling before anything else, and activating their own Death Strike. Moving straight to combat, they attack Roundtable with Psy Master Thopterus, Jidayun with Razorlash Transmigrant, and me with their commander, Ashad. During the post-combat main phase, Melanpiriks casts an Enthusiast Mechanaut, sacrificing the Razorlash Transmigrant for Ashad's casualty effect and getting 2 of the Mechanauts. This also triggers Ashad's ability, gaining a counter. Next, they play a Frostboil Snarl, then pay for a Scrap Heat Scrounger. Ashad doesn't trigger this time, as it only counts the first non-legendary artifact spell in a turn, but Psy does create a Thopter, and we catch that Melanpiriks didn't create the Thopter from casting the Mechanaut. Arcane Lighthouse hits the table during Roundtable's 6th turn, followed by a Cast Izzet Signet. A free roll reveals nothing, so Roundtable pays to cast Glorybringer. Moving to combat, the Cephalid Face Taker swings toward Melanpiriks. The Rapacious Dragon attacks me, and the Glorybringer utilizes the haste to attack Jidayun. Allura triggers on the attack, targeting Glorybringer to be unblockable and bounce back to Roundtable's hand at the end step. The Glorybringer itself triggers, being exerted and dealing damage to Ajani's Chosen. Upon combat damage, Popular Entertainer triggers for each of us, goading the Tanglespan Lookout, Ruthless Technomancer, and Ashad in turn order. Moving to his end step, Allura's delayed trigger resolves, and Glorybringer returns to Roundtable's hand. Jidayun's first move is to cast an Angelic Destiny on Elevere, triggering the Tanglespan Lookout to draw him a card. He follows this up by casting Warbriar Blessing on the Lookout, which triggers the creature again and has the lookout fight and kill Allura. In combat, Elevira attacks Melanpiriks for 8 damage, and the Envoy swings in the air at Roundtable. Melanpirik blocks with a Sacrificial Thopter, while Roundtable takes the damage. Post-combat, he plays a tapped Myriad Landscape, and rolling for free, he sees nothing, pays the roll again, sees nothing again, and it moves to my turn. Before playing anything, I politic with Melanpiriks to kill my goated Ruthless Technomancer. Ahead of combat, I cast a Journey to Eternity on the creature before swinging it at Melanpiriks. The blocking Thopter has Death Touch thanks to the plane, so both creatures die, and the Journey to Eternity triggers, returning both the Ruthless Technomancer and the enchantment to the battlefield, with the enchantment returning transformed into Atzel, Cave of Eternity. The Technomancer trigger allows me to sacrifice the Bloodghast for 2 treasure tokens, before I play an island, returning the Bloodghast back to the battlefield. I cast Appear's Whim, naming myself and Melanpiriks as friends as part of our deal, while naming Roundtable and Jidayun as foes. Roundtable sacrifices a treasure, while Jidayun gets rid of the Virtuous Roll. Melanpiriks finds a Silver Bluff Ridge, and I find Demir Aqueduct, returning a forest to my hand. With my value plays over, I pass the turn. Melanpiriks plays a tapped Creeping Tar Pit and rolls for free, proving that nothing is free, since they get a nothing. They cast a Nettlecyst, which they sacrifice the Scrap Heap Scrounger to get a second one thanks to a shot, giving their commander another counter. Paying 1 mana, one of the Nettlecysts are equipped to Eshad, and they move to combat. Sai and a Mechanaut attack Roundtable for a total of 3, while Eshad swings at Jidayun for a whopping 14 commander damage. Without blockers, they both take the hits, and Jidayun is suddenly over half dead to Eshad's commander damage. After combat, Melanpiriks makes yet another fruitless attempt to planeswalk, having it cost him 1 mana before ending the turn. Roundtable brings his commander back out and moves to combat. Wanting to keep himself safe, the Cephalid Facetaker attacks Melanpiriks while the Rapacious Dragon swings at me in the air. The 2 creatures hitting us cause the popular Entertainer to allow Roundtable to goad my Ruthless Technomancer again and Melanpiriks' commander. In an unfortunate post-combat free roll, Roundtable does see a Chaos effect but passes the turn without any way to take advantage of it. Fearing for his life, Jidayun plays a tapped Temple of Plenty and keeps the Scryed card on top of his library. Rolling the planar die for free, he sees nothing and moves to combat. Attacking Roundtable, Elevir creates a new Virtuous Roll on the Ascendant Envoy, with the damage being 12. Elevir grants Jidayun 2 cards while we question why he would leave himself open to death from Melanpiriks. He answers us by casting an austere command, attempting to get rid of artifacts and creatures with mana value 3 or less. Unfortunately, that also would wipe my field, and I pay 2 for a negate. Jidayun moves to his end step, discarding 2 cards. The first card I cast on my turn is the finality half of Find and Finality, targeting Henry Wu to get the 2 +1/+1 counters. Melanpiriks sacrifices their 2 Thopters to draw a card with Sai, Master Thopters, and Ashad gets 2 more +1/+1 counters because of the sacrificed creatures. As many of Melanpiriks' artifacts are creatures that die, the Nettlecyst attached to the Germ is a 1/1 for the turn. Playing a forest, I return the Bloodghast to the battlefield, but it doesn't have haste with Jidayun and Roundtable being over 5 health. I follow this up by casting a Beacon of Unrest, targeting the Ruthless Technomancer in my graveyard. It resolves, bringing the Technomancer back, and I shuffle the Beacon of Unrest back into my library upon resolution. The Technomancer exploits the Bloodcast instead of using its own Enter the Battlefield effect, letting me draw a card. I roll for free and get a Chaos effect that still doesn't make my commander deal any damage, so I just pass the turn. Melanpiriks rolls for free at first, and would you believe it, they actually get a Chaos effect, boosting their field. They cast a Thoughtcast, which allows them to draw 2 cards before they play a Darkwater Catacombs. Paying 1 mana, they roll again and get nothing, and choose to move to combat. Attacking Roundtable for 6 with the Germ that has a Nettlecyst attached, they seal Jidayun's fate by swinging for another 12 commander damage with Ashad. Taking the damage, Jidayun is knocked out from 26 commander damage. In post-combat main phase, Melanpiriks casts a Royal Warden, sacrificing the Germ for Ashad's casualty effect to get a copy. The Royal Wardens enter the battlefield, each of them making 2 Necrons, and Ashad gets a counter from the sacrificed Germ. Roundtable rolls and sees nothing before casting an Arcane Signet. Then, they cast a Thieving Skydiver, paying 4 into the X to take control of Ashad. In an interesting interaction, Melanpiriks still controls the Nettlecyst, so the artifact account applies to their field instead of Roundtable's. Hoping that Ashad being on his field will make him safe, Roundtable passes to me. I play a Sunken Hollow, which returns my Bloodghast. I then cast a Soul Ring before paying a single black mana for a Visceraseer. Sacrificing the Ruthless Technomancer to the Seer, I scry the top card to the bottom. I pay to activate Atzel, Cave of Eternity, and return the Ruthless Technomancer, which exploits the Bloodghast to draw. Rolling for free, we remain on the same plane we've been on for this entire game. Paying 1, I at least see a Chaos effect, and I move to combat to swing 4 Death Strike damage at Melanpiriks after paying 2 to roll for a third time and seeing nothing. With nothing else to do, I curse this plane before ending my turn. Kicking off their turn, Melanpiriks equips the currently unequipped Nettlecyst to one of the Necrons. Moving straight to combat, they attack Roundtable with everything, a lethal attack. Roundtable opts to block the copy of the Royal Warden, hoping to take some of the damage off Melan's field before dying. Ashad returns to Melanpiriks' field, and in post-combat, they roll for nothing. As final spell for the turn, they cast a Silas Wren, Seeker Adept. Fearing that the end is near, I play a Swamp and return the Bloodghast to the battlefield. Sacrificing the Ruthless Technomancer to the Visceraseer, I keep the card on top. Attempting a roll, I see nothing. Activating Atzel, Cave of Eternity, I return the Ruthless Technomancer and exploit the Bloodghast yet again, drawing the card that I scried on top. Paying 3, I cast the Champion of Lambhold, using mana from Path of Ancestry to scry the next card to the bottom of my library. Sacrificing the Visceraseer to itself, I scry the next card to the bottom as well, and activate Ruthless Technomancer's ability, sacrificing my Arcane Signet to return the Visceraseer. The creature entering the battlefield triggers the Champion of Lambhold, getting it a counter. I pay 1 more to roll, and would you believe it, we stay on the same plane. As I move to my end step, Melanpiriks casts a Shimmer Mirror with Flash in my end step. On their turn, they play their own Sunken Hollow, Copycat, before casting an Auton Soldier. This enters the battlefield as a Champion of Lambhold, sacrificing a creature to get 2 thanks to Ashad's Casualty. Ashad also gets another counter, and the 2 champions see each other enter the battlefield, each giving themselves a counter. Paying to equip one of the Nettlecysts to one of the champions, I can no longer block any of Melanpiriks' creatures, and they swing for the win. For all of those beautiful statisticians out there, this game was 9 rounds long and lasted 1 hour, 25 minutes, and about 47 seconds. As I'm sure you realized by some of my comments when we rolled the planar die, we saw a single plane for that entire time, the accursed Onaki Catacombs. I joked after the game that I would remove the plane from the planar deck for the next video just in case we were feeling superstitious. Throughout the game, and not counting basic lands, we saw 61 unique cards, though certain cards were used multiple times, like the Bloodghast and Ruthless Technomancer that I constantly juggled on and off my battlefield. This was a great game with everyone making lots of value plays to advance their board states, and I had a great time with this new set of Planeschasers. On that note, we're doing something different, starting with this episode. The 4 of us hung behind and gave a quick afterthoughts on how the game went, including things we could have done better and interesting plays throughout the game. However, that content will be exclusive to Patreon, which you can access for as little as $1 a month. Starting now, I'll be coming up with more content and hopefully some giveaways and other thank yous for people who either subscribe to my Twitch channel during my Friday night streams or for patrons. While content creation isn't my source of income, your patronage is massively appreciated and helps me upgrade or maintain my streaming equipment or cover the cost of giveaways and the like. While there's nothing wrong with making an income from content, I'm mostly using my Patreon as a means of covering some of the out-of-pocket costs. Breaking even is 100% okay with me. So if you want to support this content and maybe even encourage me to make more kinds of content, head over to patreon.com/thesethcross and start your pledge for that single dollar and get early access to these videos as well as the afterthoughts content. If that's not for you, I completely understand, and your support in watching my videos, leaving likes and commenting and hitting the subscribe button are still massively appreciated, and those things are priceless to me. Thank you so much for taking the time to enjoy this month's Planeschasers Intrepid Travelers, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!